Welcome to Building Families, Bridging Differences, a family law journey.
Hey everyone, welcome into an all-new episode of Building Families, Bridging Differences, a family law journey with Shelly Booth-Cooley. I am your host, Mike Leon. Shelly here is a certified family law specialist and the founder of the Cooley Law Firm out in Las Vegas, Nevada. And she focuses exclusively on family law, helping clients with divorce, custody, adoption, assisted reproduction, and she's known for her compassionate, straightforward approach. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how prenups and postnups can bring clarity to a relationship before and after the marriage. Shelly, it's good to see you as always. Let me start with this high-level question here. Maybe people don't know what it is. What exactly is a prenuptial agreement, and why do more couples consider one today than they did in years past?
Thank you for having me, Mike. It's good to be here. So, great question. What is a premarital agreement? A premarital agreement is an agreement that couples enter into before they get married. And the purpose of a premarital agreement is to address ownership and division of property and debts, management or control of business interests, insurance rights or estate planning matters, use and distribution of income and investments, as well as spousal support in the event of a divorce. So these are all the types of issues that a premarital agreement addresses. And I think the reason why more people are entering into premarital agreements is because folks are getting married later in life. And oftentimes they have been working, they've got retirement, they have assets that they've acquired prior to marriage without their soon-to-be spouse. So they want to make sure that their separate property remains separate property during the marriage.
Yeah. So, Shelly, then let me ask you, a couple sits down, right? They're discussing this prenup. What kind of issues can they actually address within the prenup under Nevada law?
In a premarital agreement, you can address everything except children and child support. And the reason is that child custody and child support is determined at the time of, or I guess at the current time for the child, and is based upon what is best for a child, what's in the child's best interest. And child support is based upon the party's income at the time. So everything except child custody and child support may be addressed in a premarital agreement.
Shelly, you've been doing this for a long time. I've mentioned it on other pods. How early in the engagement process should couples start talking about a prenup? And why does the timing matter about talking about it? Is it earlier or is it later into the process?
Well, what you have to remember is that with a premarital agreement, you are talking about financial issues, and those can be a little bit sticky for folks, and they can be some tough conversations. So, depending on where in the process of wedding planning you have these conversations, it could bring a damper to the impending wedding. So it's best to start talking if you're going to enter into a premarital agreement. It's best to start discussing the premarital agreement and its terms sooner rather than later. There isn't a too far in advance rule, and there isn't a too close to the wedding rule. However, it is a good idea that the premarital agreement be signed no sooner than 7 days, preferably 2 weeks prior to marriage, because we want to make sure that the premarital agreement will withstand attack. And if you're signing a premarital agreement on the eve of your wedding, then that doesn't appear to be voluntarily, and it could have been signed under duress, which would um, open itself up to attack and to be set aside potentially.
Shelly, let me ask you because you mentioned the word planning there a second ago. Have you seen, or can you give some client examples in your experience, how you've helped clients kind of frame it as, hey, this is more planning. It's not a pessimistic view. It's not suggesting distrust. It's more about planning.
Absolutely. So, one of the things that I tell my clients when we are first starting working together, when we're dealing with a premarital agreement, is what we're doing. There has to be full disclosure. So, you show your assets and debts, the other party has to disclose their assets and debts. And then we talk about what things are going to be like during the marriage. And I remind them, I say, statistically speaking, the number one reason marriages fail is because of financial issues. So you all are getting a head start by talking about this stuff upfront prior to marriage and how things are going to work. And this is a healthy thing to do. And I know it's uncomfortable, but I will help you get through it, and we will get this finalized so then you can move on to the happy stuff. And best case scenario, you put this in a safe place and you never have to look at it again. Worst case scenario, we have a dissolution, we pull it out, we follow its terms, and you and your spouse go your separate ways, and it is not going to be a messy or ugly situation.
Speaking of disillusion, right? We talked about the prenup enough. We want prenup, as the song lyric says. Now let's talk about the postnuptial agreement. What are the main differences between prenup and a postnuptial agreement? And when, in your expertise, might a postnup actually make sense?
So, a post marital agreement can address the same issues that a prenuptial agreement can address, except for alimony. And the reason is that you are currently married when you are addressing the terms of the post marital agreement. So you cannot agree to terms with regard to alimony or the waiver of alimony. So that cannot be in a postmarital agreement, nor can child custody and child support, for the same reasons that it cannot be in a premarital agreement. Is we have to address child custody and support issues at the time of the, I guess, the dissolution, or at the time of the event. So the reasons people may enter into a postmarital agreement is, let's say, for instance, one of the spouses has, let's say, they've gone through substance abuse treatment, or gambling, a gambling issue. So the parties want to readdress assets and debts so that everyone is protected from the other spouse's gambling issues. And that may be a reason to do a postmarital agreement. Or parties are trying to, they had a period of separation, and they're reconciling and trying to make this work. So they enter into postmarital agreement to outline how things are going to be going forward.
Shelly, we live in the world of AI and DIY, right? Do it yourself. What are some common mistakes you've seen people make when they try to draft their own agreements or use like these online templates to build these prenups or postnups?
Well, one of the issues with a do-it-yourself agreement or using AI to draft an agreement for you is AI is going to tell you what you want to hear. You are not going to get the subject matter expertise. And if you're going to go through the trouble of entering into a premarital agreement, you want to make sure that it's enforceable. And the only way to make sure that it's enforceable is to go to an attorney and have your attorney draft the premarital agreement. And then your spouse also needs independent representation as far as the premarital agreement goes as well. So if you want an enforceable premarital agreement, your safest route is going to be to go to an attorney who knows the law. You want an experienced family law attorney. You do not want to go to a criminal defense attorney or to a personal injury attorney who doesn't do family law. You actually want a family law attorney who regularly drafts premarital or postmarital agreements so that you get the benefit of their expertise so that you have an enforceable agreement.
Yeah. For the listener out there, they want to protect their relationship and their future. I think I know the answer because it's a well-drafted agreement by you. But what's the healthiest way for them to start this conversation with their partner?
Talk to your partner. Tell them that you've been researching and reading about premarital agreements, that you think it's a good idea that you enter into a premarital agreement because you want to make sure that there are no surprises and that you guys start your marriage in a healthy way, which means talking about finances often and regularly. And one of the best ways to do that is with a premarital agreement. Everything has to disclose, all assets, all debts, and you talk about what things will look like during the marriage, as well as in the event of divorce. And hopefully, again, it goes in a drawer. You never have to look at it. But in the event that you do divorce down the road, then you are going to be looking at a low conflict or no conflict divorce. And you will have a healthier marriage. And in the event of a divorce, it's going to be a healthier way to divorce as well.
Yeah. Shelly, thank you for the time and insight as always on this topic. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
And that's it for today's episode of Building Families, Bridging Differences, a family law journey with Shelly Booth-Cooley from the Cooley Law Firm out in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you want to learn more about Shelly and her work, you want to connect with her team, visit CooleyLawLV.com. You're going to find all the resources there to help Nevada families navigate divorce, custody, and family information with confidence. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review and comment, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. See everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.